Tim is on the verge of losing his voice.
Why did you start with that? I knew you were going to do that.
Are you actually on the verge of losing your voice? Are you sick?
I think so. I'm not sick. I've been talking so much over the last 3 days.
Yeah.
Had a lot going on, so I've just been talking. And so
Well, you had
I
your
think it's starting to go. I can kind of feel it.
You know what, Tim? We've got summer break ahead of us, so there's
Lots of
plenty of time to rest that voice. We just need to do a Lando Norris to just pull the last little.
Need to squeeze every ounce of juice out of you that you got.
That's right. We need your voice box, your vocal cords to look like Lando's tires, which was like the surface of the moon. What a race! Great setup for the second half of the season. And I know we're past the second half of the season, but I always look at it like first half of the season's a little bit longer than the second half. And frankly, it is going to come down to two guys, Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. Oscar could have been as much as 23 points ahead of Lando. Instead, he is now only 9 points ahead of Lando. And obviously, Tim, that is a massive deal. And we're going to start there today because it really does mean these two guys, we might get a classic team versus team race the last little bit here. And you got to think on their plane ride home right now that they're thinking the same thing. Oh,
yeah, they got to be, man. I mean, when you take a look at how close it is between the two drivers, just not much separating either one of them, like at all. I mean, I said this, I've been saying this now for the last 2 weeks, Adam. Everywhere I go, it's going to be down to who makes the least amount of mistakes. That's going to be the driver that wins this thing. And it's great that we've got a championship that's this close and between two teammates, because the last time we saw two teammates going at it, same equipment, same competitiveness, I would say Rosberg, Hamilton. And then before that, I mean, the only real ones that I can really, really, truly remember as a kid would be Senna and Prost. And that's it. And that's, those are the big ones for me that I remember. And I would put this one's edging up in there, man.
Would you put maybe Alonso Hamilton, even though they didn't win in neither of them won that year?
Yeah, I would say no, because it wasn't for, big portion of the title. Like, you literally have two title contenders.
Yeah.
Who are going at it for the title.
Yeah.
And so
and there's nobody else in there, right?
No, there isn't. Yeah. No one else is factoring in at all. I mean, we could have some teams factor in to this championship. We'll talk about that later on the show, but I think we could have some teams that could factor in terms of stealing points away from either driver for sure. However, when it comes down to it, I mean, this is just two incredible talents going head to head here, man. It's fantastic.
It's fun, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's fun.
It's
now,
great.
It's interesting because the race starts how it normally starts for Lando Norris, which is bad. He loses 2 spots within a couple of turns, and there are a lot of turns on the circuit in Hungary, but
14.
Yeah, which is a lot, and it's an interesting circuit. But he loses 2 spots, one of them to Fernando Alonso, and we'll come back to Aston Martin's race in a second here. But what they do is they figure out, hey, okay, so Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc are far and away ahead of this. Lando's going to have to fight his way up. We know Mercedes is going to have a really strong car in colder temperatures, which they did again today. You saw that with George Russell. We're going to have to do something that's a bit of I don't want to call it a Hail Mary, Tim, but it is a risk, right? He had to baby those tires for more than half the race. And so they put him on hards, and he goes, and he is Lando is able to basically mistake-free get his way through the field. He there was that one part where he hit the gravel, and his his engineer's like, no mistakes, not allowed. And look at that, they get it at the end. And I wonder, Tim, when they made that call, do you think that they knew, okay, we got a legitimate shot at this, or do they think this is our best shot, but it's not a good one?
Yeah, that's exactly what they were thinking, was the latter there, Adam. This is our best shot, but it's not a good one. When McLaren started off the day on Sunday, the goal was a 2-stop strategy for them. That was their best option. It was the fastest way for them to try and get a victory, and because they were trying to obviously beat the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, and we'll talk about Ferrari in a second, but for the one stopper wasn't really a consideration at all. I mean, they had mentioned it within the team briefing, but they did not consider it whatsoever. So yeah, this was a roll of the dice. At the beginning of this race, Lando, he got a great jump. Like, he got a really good start. But Piastri also was the one who came over to cover off the inside because he knew Lando was coming. Yep. But Oscar was also getting a slipstream from Charles in front of him. So there was that sort of accordion effect at that point. So for Lando, the only thing he could do was brake early and basically give up position, because there was nothing he could do about it. He was in such a compromised spot that he was trying to find a way past Oscar. Oscar just blocked the road. And Lando actually wasn't really upset about that whatsoever, because it's fair game. It was the fact that by the time he got done lap 1, that he said to himself, and under his helmet, quotation marks, brilliant, as in sarcastically,
yes,
what a gong show this turned out to be, and I'm screwed now.
Yeah.
He actually had gone back to watching onboard video before the start of this race of turn 1 and lap 1, and to see, like, okay, where could I go from where I'm starting? Who else has started from here? Where, what, they had good starts. Where did they go? Blah, 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 blah. And I find that very fascinating, because that's just another level at which these drivers are going to try and find some sort of an advantage somewhere. So it's really smart work by Lando to do that, first of all. So we should definitely get that out of the way, because, that shows that the driver is really working and trying to uncover as much as they can. But as he got deeper into his stint, McLaren basically was encouraging him and pushing him to go for as long as he could to make the stint, try the one stopper, see what happens.
Yeah.
Right. He did have a bit of a time advantage, but not a big one, obviously. And if McLaren had have pitted Piastri before Charles did his final stint, Piastri was still going to be behind Lando.
Yeah.
And it was still wouldn't have helped him much, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. However, when you take a look at the tire delta, I believe it was 6 laps. So Lando had 6 more laps on his hards than Oscar did when we got close to the finish of this race. Piastri even mentioned in the post-race press conference that, there could have been 5 laps left, and he's like, the race could have been extended for 5 more laps. Still wouldn't have been able to easily get by Lando. It was really, really hard, because Lando done such a good job, like you had said, Adam, managing the tire, keeping the tire alive.
And Tim, one of the things that I think Oscar's gotten a lot of praise for is his management of tires, especially those mediums, right?
Yeah,
and Lando, when he's at his best and his most confident, is extraordinarily fast and really, mistake free. But what happens, or what seemingly tends to happen, is if there's a mistake off the top, it can throw him off, and then he never quite recovers. But today, I thought that showed progression in his race ability, for his ability to come back from, what was a mistake that was unfortunate. I understand why he swung over at the beginning, but I don't think he took George Russell and Fernando Alonso being right there into account. Does that make sense? Because it's a split-second decision.
So it makes total sense, man, because this is something that Lando's been working away at now for the past few months. He has spoken about it. It was more along the lines of, like, getting off to a good start in the weekends, and then really focusing on not making mistakes throughout qualifying or the race, making sure he's executing every single time he's in the car. I mean, that's really hard to do for any driver, Oscar Piastri as well, like any driver, Max Verstappen, whatever. You're always going to make mistakes. You're always going to make tiny little errors within your lap. Nothing is ever going to be perfect. I mean, you could feel like it could be close to perfect, but I mean, that's it. For Lando, I think for this summer downtime that we're getting here, I mean, I think it's really important, Adam, that all these things he's been working on, he continues to work on them. I don't think he can take a break from that. I mean, maybe he can take like 7 days off and go somewhere nice and sunny and whatever, but come back. But the 2 weeks heading into, the Dutch Grand Prix, I think he really needs to get back to all that as well to make sure he continues this strong form that he had at the Hungarian Grand Prix, because Oscar's going to be so hard to beat. And Piastri just makes very little mistakes. Like, he doesn't really make them, right? He's got this talent of handling stressful situations in the car and making sure he's got enough bandwidth to be able to think more. Doesn't get so emotional. I think like Piastri is just like, he's like ice, man. He is the ice man, to me anyways. And I think that's going to be hard to beat, Adam. I really, really do. I think Lando needed this win. And I think if he didn't get this win, I think I don't want to say it would be over, but it would have been really hard for him to bounce back.
A lot less interesting. We'll put it that way.
That too.
Yeah. Now, with Oscar Piastri's race, I thought it was interesting that midway through the race, they're asking, well, do you want to cover off Charles or do you want to cover off Lando? And obviously his first answer and immediate was Lando. And it's an interesting one because, you want to cover off Lando, but isn't covering off Lando covering off Charles by winning the race? And I wonder if that spoke to, first off, the fact that Oscar takes Lando quite seriously, but also perhaps that they knew there was something wrong with Ferrari and that problem might take care of itself as well as it seemingly has for most of the last half decade.
Well, so I don't think either one of them, Oscar or Lando, thought that they could beat Leclerc today.
Okay.
And that's why it was more, that radio message was more geared towards, where's Lando kind of thing. I want to make sure that I'm making sure I'm staying out in front of Lando as much as possible, because I don't think anybody was expecting that final stint by Ferrari and by Charles Leclerc to be as brutal as it was. And so Oscar making mention of just how fast Leclerc was in this race, especially the opening of it, and then the next stint that they had done, he said it was really hard. It was hard to keep up with him. It was hard to even have a chance at getting close enough to get the DRS, to get a pass done until that final stint where the Ferrari just went completely sideways. And we obviously heard, Leclerc over team radio. I've felt it interesting, Adam, that a lot of the conversation within the paddock was talking a little bit about plank wear on the Ferrari. When I watched Leclerc on his quali lap on Saturday, he was really, he took a lot of risk and commitment in the lap itself, but he was really quick in sector 2. So the high downforce sections like turn 8, 9, 10, 11. He's very fast through there. He actually was quicker than Piastri was. And that's usually like McLaren territory, that, those high speed corners where it requires a lot of downforce. But for the Ferrari, I was like, holy geez, they're really quick through there. That's strange to me because that's usually McLaren territory. And I'm thinking, okay, well, they must be running a lot of downforce on that car. And so the idea of plank wear started circling the old brain. And I thought, well, they brought that new suspension in Spa. And that was supposed to help with the limitation of plank wear. It's one of those things. They could run the car at a different ride height, so where the car and the road meet. And so one of the thoughts was that on the final stint that maybe the hard tire that they had strapped onto Leclerc's car had the PSI jacked up on it. So that would raise the ride height of the car, raise the car away from the ground a bit, and allow it to not bottom out.
Right.
And so it wouldn't reduce the amount of wear on the plank. So that was one scenario that was brought up that I found actually quite interesting, and I kind of looking in that direction. However, we don't know, right? That's the thing, because at the end of this one, Leclerc is very He was very cryptic about what was wrong with the actual chassis.
He was cryptic throughout the race. I mean, he said, hey, guys, like, the thing that we spoke about before the race is we need to be speaking about that earlier. Then, and then he said, we're going to lose this race. We're going to lose this race. And this is squarely when he was in first place. Tim, they didn't even get a podium. Mm-hmm. Was it just the plank? Was there, I mean, the fact that McLaren sort of surprised Ferrari and drew Charles into the pits, I think, played in a piece as well.
Yeah, Leclerc, he didn't touch on that part of it too much post race. I mean, he did say though the last stint is where the car went really badly for him, and he thought it was because the team had made an adjustment to the front wing, and it was too aggressive of an adjustment. And basically the handling of the car like sort of went right out the window.
Yep.
And so he thought it was that, but then basically learned that it was something else. And so he was a little more, he wasn't as pissed off as what he was when he was in the car, when he came and talked to the media, which also I found quite interesting. So obviously he did go and talk to somebody as soon as he got out of the car. He definitely went and chatted with someone, and they must have explained to him what was going on. But the thing is that we're not going to know. That's the other part of it. I mean, we can guess, we can speculate, and that's about it. So it was a shame because Ferrari was a faster team this weekend, and they had a chance. Leclerc had a chance at a win here. Are they going to have other chances, Adam? I mean, I think so. Leclerc doesn't believe so. I think they are.
They seemingly have. I mean, they even mentioned to George Russell post-race, I think it was James Hinchcliffe said, hey, listen, like, you guys seem to be the third fastest team on the grid this weekend, throughout practice anyway, and you're still able to pull a podium out of it. George Russell, very quietly is having a very, very consistent season, Tim. And that's why, the Verstappen stuff was very, very interesting, but giving up on George Russell didn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. Can you talk a little bit about his race and why he was able to capitalize specifically on Charles there at the end?
I mean, obviously Leclerc had his issue, whatever it was. That was something, but George did mention post race that like he was looking at the back of the Ferrari and it was running extremely low, he felt. And he also felt that they turned the engine down a bit, which again would help with that plank wear. Obviously, the faster the car goes, the more it gets pushed into the ground. And so for George, it was an easy move to try and get past Leclerc when Leclerc wasn't trying to brake and turn in on him. So, I mean, like Leclerc deserved that 5-second penalty for sure. And I don't mind it, by the way. Just going to put it out there. I don't mind that. I didn't really mind it. They didn't really make contact. Like I was okay with all that, but whatever. Moving on for George and for the Mercedes, they showed up with they showed up with an old rear end, and they swapped out their new components with old components.
Yep.
And that kind of brought the confidence back to the drivers, Adam. Like they felt like the car was a lot more drivable, had more drivability to it. We heard Kimi Antonelli, talking about how like he found his confidence again. He felt a lot better in the car. And for George, I mean, this is some of the best driving that he has done ever. Like this year has been. And for him to say that this car is it's the most competitive it's been since Canada, that's got to be worrying if you're Mercedes, because you went in another direction with a lot of your new components. Mm-hmm. So they really, Adam, I think, have to dig in and understand where exactly did they go wrong with their new components so they can get this car back on the right track. I'll be fascinated to see what they do next, simply because, development of this car is starting to shut down. Mm-hmm. And so where does that leave this Mercedes, looking into the next, 5 months?
Yes, that is going to be very, very interesting. And I think there are going to be more teams that shut it down. I mean, Williams very clearly has. Like, you can see that. You can see that. Sauber has not. And I want to talk a little bit about Gabriel Bortoleto finishing right behind his mentor, Fernando Alonso. And then right behind him is Canadian Lance Stroll. Mm-hmm. Double points weekend, 16 points in total for Aston Martin. And you made this prediction before.
I'll be interested to see what Aston Martin can do here, because I have a feeling this could be a track they could go well at.
Okay. Oh, good. That's good to hear.
I have a feeling.
Like that.
But
Tim, you were the one person in Formula One saying, hey, Aston Martin might have a good race. Why did Aston Martin have a good race, Tim?
Okay,
and why did you know that?
So here's the thing. Aston Martin doesn't even know why they had a good race.
Okay. Why do you think they had? Why did you predict this?
Because this was a track that I felt was going to be specific to their car. I felt that this was going to be a track that really suited what their car does. I didn't think it was going to be this competitive, though.
It was very competitive.
Like one car may score some good points, and maybe we get two cars, maybe we get a car 9th and 10th. Like that's what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking like 5th and 7th, or at one point Fernando Alonso in 3rd. I wasn't thinking that. So a couple things. Heard from Mike Crack at the end of this one. I heard from Lance Stroll. I heard from Fernando Alonso. Mm-hmm. And they all basically said the same thing. Like when they left the Belgian Grand Prix, they were concerned about this car and where it was because of where they qualified. Obviously, that was on the back row.
Yep.
And then 7 days later, there's this massive transformation with the car. All of a sudden, it's got a ton of performance. They're able to do a lot more with it. Lance is saying like, hey, I had so much fun driving this car from lap 1 and FP1 all the way through to the very last lap in the Grand Prix itself. So that's a huge change. It's a huge shift for this team. They brought a new front wing. I think the front wing that they brought worked really well in a high downforce setting, which they had it on. And I also think the weather, in terms of its cooler nature, also helped. I think the track specifically helped as well. And I also think sometimes the wind direction helped them at the same time, because sometimes their car is very sensitive to the wind. And both drivers executed. That's like the secret sauce, man. Like both Fernando and Lance were awesome, like all weekend long, aside from obviously Fernando having back issues. Outside of that, this is a very positive result for this team. They are going to really need to understand what went right here, and then how can they replicate that for other races, because I think when you look at track configuration like Zandvoort, it's similar to the Hungarian Grand Prix. I mean, obviously the layout, obviously isn't that, they don't have banked corners and things of that nature, but the corner range is similar. So when we look at the simulation tools, we look at the CFD tools, we look at the wind tunnel tools, and then we look at components that get brought to the car. When you hear the drivers say that everything speaks to each other, that's essentially what they're talking about. The correlation between everything that Aston Martin is doing now with all of their state-of-the-art equipment is working, and it's all speaking to each other, and it's all translating to the track. That's huge. It's huge for this team, man. Huge. Yep. Can't tell you how huge it is.
Oh, it's crazy, and it puts them in a really good spot in the constructors' standings. So they're up in 6th now. They're ahead of Sauber, which is amazing. They jumped 2 spots just today. Sauber's got 51 points. Aston Martin with 52. Williams, without being able to generate as much as they were at the beginning of the season. And again, we know why that is. Their development focus has shifted to next year. I'm not saying they're not developing this car, but let's be honest, it's something that they basically said from the outset, at some point we're going to shut this down. They are within 18 points of Williams. So it'll be interesting to see that battle for 6th place. I don't know.
Adam, do you think Williams can hang on to that?
They should be able to. Sorry, it's 5th place. They should be able to.
I think they can hold on to 5th.
I think they should be able to. They've got to. They got to find a way to. You might hemorrhage points, or hemorrhage parts of that lead, but you can't. There's a lot of money at 5th place versus 6th place, right? And it matters, I think, more to Williams. I mean, I know they're backed by Dorlington and they're loaded to the gills, but Aston Martin are like they have a lot of money and a lot of will, and I do feel like they would want to finish the season strong. And you could see there was even an Aston Martin fan at the end who was like, I'm like, that guy's had a rough couple years and he's really enjoying this, and good for him. So, yeah.
Well, you take a look at like Sauber, Racing Bulls, and Haas. I think, and Aston Martin included, all four of those teams, Adam, I think have a chance at getting fifth because that Williams really does look like it fell off the side of the earth and is not coming back anytime
It's not
soon.
looking strong, man.
Like
it's
not looking good at all. But I think, any one of these four teams that I just mentioned, I think they have a shot at getting fifth place in the constructors. I really do, because Racing Bulls, very competitive this weekend. Same with last weekend.
More points than the senior team, Tim, by double.
I know, right? Isn't that wild, man? Holy shit. And then Haas as well. I mean, they're right there. I think Behrman probably would have been able to qualify into Q3 if he had a couple things go his way. I honestly do not think that fifth place in the constructors standings being held by Williams right now is going to last.
Doesn't feel safe.
No, not at all. No way.
And I know that'll drive the drivers nuts, but I do think long term, and James Vowles thinks long term, it'll probably be for the best. It's just, if you're a Williams fan, it's like, God, how many more years do we need to wait for this car to be good? How many more?
It's like, what are we doing, right? I mean, I think as a driver, you don't want to lose your competitive edge or feel like you're giving up on anything at any time.
No.
But I mean, this is the highest Williams has been up in forever.
This is the point, right? Like they haven't, I don't think they've had a podium since like 2014, except for the George Russell one.
Lance got them a podium in 2017.
Right. And didn't George get them one too on a rained out race? I think it was that.
George got them one in 2021.
Right. So it's been a while, right? There's it's a long, slow, arduous process.
Yeah.
I do think that there's got to be a world where James Vowles is not the most popular guy with his drivers for the second half of the season, and they'll all get over it if they start winning next year. So it'll be okay. Now, Gabriel Bortoleto, I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Kick Sauber just for a second, because him finishing sixth. Obviously, I think Hulkenberg he's had a rough couple races since that podium, but who cares?
Kick Sauber, more like kick ass,
Kick ass,
there.
Yeah, high five, Tim. High five. I gotta say, Bortoleto's really poured it on the last couple of races.
Oh man, he's been fantastic. Like, his qualifying is what's put him in these really strong positions, Adam. Like, he's raced really well. He's held on to position, obviously, but he's put himself in these moments and in these spots. And when you're a driver, I mean, that's just so important to make sure that side of your driving is sort of ironed out, is making sure that you're executing on the qualifying, because it's just so important, especially with when Hulkenberg, really had a difficult weekend. They had another driver that they could really count on, and that obviously being Gabriel Bortoleto, this rookie, who I've been really high on now, man, for the last little while. I honestly think he's the best rookie on the grid.
Wow, that is saying something.
Man, he's good. He's really good. He's really, really good. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Antonelli at all, but I mean, Bortoleto's been doing a lot with very little, and he's been beating Antonelli with lesser
far
equipment.
Inferior equipment. Let's just put it out there. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Right. When you see what Russell's doing, right? Now, that's not to take anything away from Kimi Antonelli or say that, Antonelli's not a good driver. It's not what I'm saying whatsoever. But I think Gabriel Bortoleto is a legit talent. I think he's a very special talent, especially when it comes to qualifying.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I'm looking at the rest of the race results here, and I do want to talk about Racing Bulls, who at times this year have really impressed. And remember, they lost their lead driver to Red Bull, and he has been a non-factor since going to Red Bull. Liam Lawson, I mean, he raced so poorly at his start at Racing Bulls. Forget the first two starts with Red Bull. When they downgraded him back to Racing Bulls, and I hate to call it a downgrade, but when they moved him, he raced so poorly there. There were some rumors about, well, do they bring up the next guy that they have? And it's like, well, hang on a second here. They've just put tens of millions into Liam Lawson. I'm sure they'd like to see what he can do for the rest of the season. And he is coming through. Isaac Hadjar has been the surprise of it all. But I think the last 5 races, you've started to see Liam Lawson show a lot more consistency. And then today, finishing ahead of Max Verstappen is symbolic for him and probably him alone. But I still think it says something.
I think it says that, when you strip a driver's confidence away and you put them somewhere else that has different equipment, they're able to rebuild themselves.
Yep.
And I think that's exactly what Liam Lawson has done. I mean, it wasn't easy, and he's had to commit a lot of hard work into doing that. I think also it's good that he's at a spot like Racing Bulls where there isn't like a ton of attention on him, not a lot of attention on the team either. And he's able to just dig into the work and not really have to worry about so much of the spotlight like Yuki Tsunoda has to deal with now with being obviously on the big team, right? So I think if he got like maybe a better start to this race, I think he probably could have factored in a little bit higher up on the grid as well. Same with like Hadjar. I thought, Hadjar had a bit of a tough race. But I also felt that when we look at what Lawson is doing, even though that Hadjar may have not had the best of weekends, I still felt that, Lawson was kind of, there to sort of pick up the pieces, right? Like that 8th, whatever it was. Yeah, it was 8th place finish from him. Really strong work. And to keep, Max behind you is amazing.
Hard to do.
Oh, yeah.
Really amazing. Hard to do.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you got a 4-time world champion breathing down your neck. So
yeah. It's an impressive display. And like, you got to say, like, this, you got to remember, I guess they showed a shot of, I was watching with my wife and they showed a shot of Oscar Piastri's girlfriend, as they sometimes do. And I think they had Charles Leclerc's girlfriend in there too. She looked at me and she's like, you sometimes forget how young these people are. They're so young. Like they're such, like they're babies, right? Yeah. Like Oscar's not it's the 3-year anniversary this weekend of him leaving Alpine. And it's just, you can't believe how quickly time flies, but also you're like, these guys are kids and they're able to pull this off against a monster like Max Verstappen. I think that's crazy. Now, one of the guys I do want to mention is Kimi Antonelli, who was able to grab that final point spot. Tim, he has struggled lately. There's just no way around it. It's not been like he started quite well. It's not been, I think, an ideal second 50% of the first half. That's got to feel that point's got to feel really good going into the next part of the year. What do you think Toto Wolff's asking of Kimi Antonelli now? Like, what did he leave him with? What's his message going to break?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I think one of the most important things for Kimi moving forward is to make sure he's not stopped working. Like, even in the downtime that they're about to get, if he takes a week off, that's great. But I think for Antonelli, he has to get back at it right away. Maybe like a 10th place is not, it's nothing crazy. It's nothing like mind blowing. But I think for Antonelli, it's a lot. That means a lot to him. That confirms what his feelings, what his suspicions were with the car, having them change so much equipment on both cars. And the result being a point, that is a good feeling for a driver. And it doesn't sap your confidence like we've talked about with younger drivers and rookies on the show.
Yep.
It kind of instills the belief in themselves, which is really important for a younger driver. And so I think, Adam, when we get to this summer break and we talk about Kimi Antonelli, it's going to be important that he's spending time with the team. He's spending time in the sim. He's getting ready for the next round of races that are going to be coming up thick and fast. Dutch Grand Prix, Italian Grand Prix. It's going to be important to him. And I think when we get to the Italian Grand Prix, Adam, I think for him, even though that being like it's not an official home race, like his home race was at the Imola Grand Prix.
Yeah.
This one, I think he has to scale back, like how much media time he does, how many friends he brings to the track, what's his family time look like, and kind of scale all of those things down and making sure that he's really focusing in on the racing. And making sure that that's the priority, because you kind of saw this big swing after Imola, right? Like where it was a big dip, and then Canada happened, and then the suspension issues started to happen. Everything started trending downwards, losing the confidence, and now we're starting to see sort of that rebound again. And so for him moving forward, I think Adam needs to be a consistent sort of straight line as much as he can. And so that also means like limiting what you're doing off track as well. And the amount of information and time you're spending with factory team personnel, sim, and all that stuff is going to be very important for him moving forward. And then also his contract, right? Like,
right.
When's that gonna happen? When's that going to be announced? How long is that contract going to be for?
Yep.
Is Toto going to give him a 1 year plus an option? Same thing goes for George. Like,
well, apparently the ball's in George's court now.
I think, Adam, like George wants more years. That's what I think. Now, I don't know whether or not that's what is holding this thing up, but I have a feeling that he wants more years, maybe more money too. And especially after this weekend, maybe more years and more money, because he did the Mercedes team a solid this weekend, man. Like he really did. Like George was really good this weekend, and he's been great all season long. So both of them, there should be an announcement, I think, hopefully in the next 4 weeks or so. I mean, we'll see. But that's, if you're a younger driver like Kimi, that's got to weigh on your head too. So
okay, as we head to the summer break, I got a couple of like rapid fire sort of hot takey questions. You ready? So Tim's hot takes incoming. All right. So number one, Tim, who's been the driver that's impressed you the most this year? It can be for any reason. It could be for any position. They could be in 16th place right now, and you're so impressed it doesn't matter. Who's the driver that's impressed you the most this year?
I mean, outside of like the two McLaren drivers, I would say Charles Leclerc.
Charles Leclerc.
Yeah. Just
because he's Charles Leclerc?
I think, Adam, like for Leclerc, the speed's always been there for qualifying. He's always been the best qualifier, in my opinion, on the grid. But he hasn't been the best race car driver, Grand Prix driver. I think this year he's taken things, and I've even talked to him about this. I've even said it to his face, and he agreed with me about the racing. It's definitely he's taken a step. He's definitely taken a step in his driving, his capabilities in a Grand Prix, and you can see that. I mean, whatever happened to this car today. I mean, if that hadn't happened, that was a win.
Yeah. Oh, should have been a win.
Like,
he should have been a win.
Authoritative win.
How do you stack and this is a great dovetail to Lewis Hamilton, which we were going to get to anyway. How do you account for the difference between the two of them? Is it that Charles is younger? Is it that Charles is better? Is it that Lewis is adjusting to a new team? Like, what is it?
I think it's the latter there, Adam. I think it's adjusting to a new team, different car DNA, different people having to work with as well. All these different engineers.
Yep.
They're not the same engineers you've been working for so many years at Mercedes. Now you're getting a whole raft of different engineers, and it's like that for every driver when they change teams. And I think for Lewis, he's gonna have to put some work in the downtime, man. Like there's gonna be factory visits. He's got to do it. And I'm sure he will. Lewis has always been really great at putting in the work. There's no, never questioned Lewis's work ethic at all. I mean, I remember in like 2020s and like the early 2015, 2016, he would stay late at the track even when they were dominating. So stay late at the track, just trying to figure out where else can they gain advantages. Like even they were kicking everyone's ass. So I know Lewis will come back. It's hard to watch at this moment, right?
Yeah. It is tough, and I just think the sport's better when he's challenging.
When he's doing well, yeah.
I liked that there was a little dust up between him and Max Verstappen. I know it was for like 11th place, but
nothing even happened with that.
Nothing.
The end, no, there was no penalty handed out. Lewis didn't even show up to the steward's office
because he doesn't care.
Well, I don't know but essentially he basically was like, "Look, I moved. I turned off the track. That's it. That's all there is to it." He didn't even show up. So I don't know whether or not he's just so completely frustrated he wanted to get the hell out of there, or what happened, but. He didn't even show up. Apparently, I was told.
Next hot takey, Tim's hot takes question. Are you ready? What team has impressed you the most this year? And I'm not talking about just winning races. I'm talking about improvement or staying at the top, or where you go, I did not see that coming necessarily.
In terms of so removing McLaren aside, I think for this as well, there are a couple teams, but first one's going to be Sauber. For me, they've been the most surprising team for me. Them, and I would say Racing Bulls / Haas and Williams at a point, but now Williams has not lost that because they're not giving up, but. They've decided to turn the tap down. So I mean, I'm kind of like, Williams is coming down. Yeah. Sauber's going up. Sauber is the team that I'm most impressed with. I think everything that Jonathan Wheatley, Mattia Binotto has done on that team for this season has been remarkable, considering the amount of staff they have at them. Like, they've got one of the smaller staffs, like in F1. And one of the smaller teams, and what they're doing is they're punching well above their weight, well above. Hulkenberg's been fantastic. Like I said, rookie Gabriel Bortoleto has been incredible. And then again, Jonathan Wheatley and that whole crew, he's got them just humming, man. He's got them running like a fine wristwatch. They're really remarkable right now.
Okay, and rookie that's impressed you the most, you already mentioned it, but let's go with it. There are a lot of rookies on the thing. Let's break down Gabriel Bortoleto just a little bit more. What is it about this guy?
Love the attitude, love the hunger and thirst for racing, love the commitment to racing, because when this guy's like Verstappen, when he's not out on the track, he's at home on the sim. And I got a lot of time for a driver who commits that much of their free time to the sport and to getting better. And this is going to be a kid to watch out for. I shouldn't say kid. It's going to be a man to watch out for.
He's a kid. He's a kid.
But he's going to be fantastic, I think. Just the qualifying alone has really impressed me a lot. And also today with tire management, also impressed me a lot, because that's a skill that takes quite some time to learn. And yeah, I think Sauber / Audi, they've got a really special talent on their hands.
Who's the team most likely to hang on too long to their development of this car and lose time next year with that car?
Oh God, that's a good one, man. I would say, God, that's a tough one, Adam. That really is.
Because I see 4 teams in that, right?
Really?
McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, and potentially Red Bull too. Because you really, I know Max is staying and Red Bull can just do whatever it wants now, but...
Well, I was going to say Red Bull. I was leaning towards Red Bull, but then I was like,
but are they going to stop developing the car, Tim? They're not going to stop developing the car.
I don't know, right? They got to hold on to Max. What do you do if you're Laurent Mekies? You're in a really tough spot. It's a really tough spot he's in. I would say maybe Ferrari as well, and then maybe Mercedes. I kind of agree with you, Adam, on a few of those teams there. I think one of the teams...
You got to pick one. You got to pick one.
It's so hard.
Because you've named 3 out of the 4.
Red Bull.
Okay. All right. Remember, they're hot takes. We're not going to hold you to them forever. Tim, What's going to be interesting now is coming up. Do we have any questions, by the way, from Twitter?
I forgot to put them out.
Don't worry about it. It's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, everybody.
That's why I did the hot takes. I wasn't sure. Here's what I want to know, because this is going to be your schedule when we come back is going to be crazy. We're going to take a little bit of a break here, and then you are leaving, and you're gone for like all of September.
Yeah,
right?
we're gone. Well, gone from mid-August till second week of September.
Which is
so
basically, so you're going to be at Zandvoort?
4 weeks. So I'll be at the Dutch Grand Prix, and then the Italian Grand Prix, and then come home, but spending a week on finally taking a vacation of my own.
No,
yeah,
stop.
I know. It's been a while. Not too bad, right? So we're going to Italy.
Great.
Jasmine and I, and we're going to spend a week in Italy, and then we are going to the Netherlands. We're going to spend a few days there, going to see some friends we got there, and then we're going to do the race where I'll do the race, and then we'll fly to Milan, do the race at the Italian Grand Prix, and then come back. So we'll be gone about 3.5 weeks-ish.
Oh, good for you.
Around then, maybe 4.
That's great.
I can't really do the math on that one. It's going to be fun. Like, I'm really looking forward to it. So when I was racing in Europe, I was stationed in Milan. And so I haven't been back in almost about 15 years. So I'm excited to see how much the city has changed.
Yep.
And I haven't been to Monza in the same amount of time as well, because I used to, I raced there and did testing there and stuff like that. So really looking forward to seeing the track layout, the different I guess the different upgrades that they've done to the facility. Because again, I haven't been there in like 15 years, but I remember when I went and it was just like, it was like going to for a golfer, it must be like going to like Augusta or something. Everything is just perfect. Everything's just perfect. So I'm really looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing everything again. And then for you and I think we got some simming to do. So
yes, sir.
And we'll probably do a podcast before I leave. Because producer Hayden had some ideas.
Okay.
And,
well, I'll talk to producer Hayden about that. This is my only time to take vacation. So maybe producer Hayden doesn't want to take vacation, but I only have so much time. So
what are you doing, Adam?
I have 3 weeks off, and then I'm back to work for another 11-month cycle. So I think I'm gonna push back on that one. But we'll talk about it.
Hold on a second here. What are you doing in your 3 weeks?
What am I doing? I'm gonna be in town for part of it, and then I'm going to Holland very quickly for a wedding. But I'm gonna miss you because you're there like a week and a half later.
Yeah.
So I'm just there. I'm in and out like in 3 or 4 days.
That's it. That's all you're doing.
That's it. That's
for
all
3
I'm doing.
weeks.
Yeah, it's a lot of at home because I got a 6-year-old, right? So it's sort of you
Take
can't
her
really.
With you.
Well, you can, but they're not as fun to travel with. I'll be honest with you. They're fine, but it's like, I could take a 6-year-old somewhere they'll never remember, and things are like skyrocketing prices or whatever. Or I can just take her to the beach down the street, and she loves looking for what she calls sea glass, which is just glass that's been, sort of like the corners have been rounded and that sort of thing, and she likes putting it in a jar, and that's her big craft right now.
You're like, watch your hands.
No, it's not sharp. I'm not letting her pick up glass with her bare hands, Tim.
That's like what I thought.
The whole thing about parenting you learn very quickly is find them something that they can do that requires minimal supervision that won't kill them.
Nice.
So that's a good one.
And then
she'll spend all morning doing that.
You got to take your wife to the F1 movie too, Adam, because apparently coming back in IMAX. Apparently.
Yeah, and she wanted to go tonight, and I was like, no, we're not going tonight. She's all amped up from the race. I'm like, we have to wait for it to come back to IMAX, and then you can go.
Yeah,
you must see it in IMAX.
You got to see it in IMAX. There's no point in going to like just a standard cinema to watch that movie. It doesn't make any sense. Like you got to go see it in IMAX. It's what it's made for.
Exactly. All right. Well, Tim, listen. I hope you enjoy your time, my friend. And got a
triathlon I'm doing too, Adam.
You're just gonna throw a triathlon in there, you monster! Look at that, good for you, man. That's great.
Yeah, I've been training for. Well, so here's what I was doing. So in January, I was like, God, I got too fat. I got to lose some weight. So went on a diet, and started back doing more swimming, biking, and running, which is something that I always used to do. Used it to train for motorsports and for racing professionally, and I was racing pretty competitively at the half Ironman level in my age group, and I was really really fit, and kind of got away from it. And now January I started circling back, and when I did a 5K with my girlfriend just for just for the hell of it. I just thought, yeah, what the hell, I'll go do it. So we did it together, and I put in a really good time, and I was like, oh boy, maybe there still is a little something something in there. And so that was back in April. So then I had started taking training a lot more seriously. So then we were in the pool 3 days a week, cycling 3 days a week, running 3 days a week, running off the bike, getting used to doing brick workouts, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, I mean, these are not bad times here. Okay, all right. So then I looked at, okay, well, when can I do a triathlon that's not going to interfere with my work schedule?
Yeah.
And sure enough, we have one coming up, Toronto Island. That's in August. So going to be doing that triathlon, and we'll see how I do. Usually I used to do the longer stuff. I used to be really good at that. And now I'm doing something that's a little shorter, a little more punchy. If I do well, then maybe I'll think about doing something a little bit longer and harder next year. But yeah, I've been training quite a bit for it lately. So yeah, that's going to do that. And then I'm going to hop on a plane and off to Italy.
That's awesome, buddy. Well, I hope you enjoy that. And best of luck, man. We're all going to be rooting for you. I can't wait to see how you do.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Thanks, Adam, for doing this. Look forward to getting back at it at the end of August.